Hello. There are many rules for many shortcut rules for taking the derivative. We have looked at power rule so far, which says that if we have x to any power, the derivative of it is that power times x to the power 1 less than the one we started with. Next, what happens if we have more than one function that we either add in or subtract in? So let's look at that example. And the answer to what happens if we add or subtract more than one function, what happens to the derivative. So if I have two different functions and I'm taking a derivative, all I'm really doing is I'm taking derivative of each one separately. So here is an example. Let's say we have two functions, f of x and g of x, and we're taking derivative of each one and subtracting the two. So what would be the answer to that? Well, the derivative of f of x is going to be equal to, using the power rule, 3 times 2 is 6x, and the derivative of a constant is 0. So that's the end for the derivative of f, of the function f of x. Now, what is the derivative of g of x? For the g of x, the derivative of 6x is just 6, and the derivative of -7, once again, is 0. So if we are subtracting the two, all we have is the answer is 6x minus 6. And that's all there is. Of course, we don't have to do it separately. We could just as easily put them next to each other and subtract. Now, let's do it on a different question, a little bit bigger, with many more terms. And the key is when we have terms that are separated with plus or minuses, and we're taking a derivative, all we really need to do is take a derivative of each component, each term separately. So we'll look and ask ourselves, all right, I'm subtracting, I have 4 different functions in essence. How do I take a derivative of 4x to the 5? Well, that is our power rule, and the answer to derivative of 4x to the 5 is 4 times 5x to the 4. Now, what is the derivative of -6x to the 3rd? Well, that's -6. And then the derivative of x cubed is 3x squared using the power rule. What's the derivative of 8x? Well, the derivative of 8x is just 8. And the derivative of constant is just 0. So once we simplify this, we have our final answer, which is 20x to the 4th minus 18x to the 2 plus 8. And that's all there is for doing the derivative of sum or difference, no matter how many functions there is. The reason it works that way is because when we take a derivative, we are taking a limit, and when we take a limit of multiple terms, we are simply taking limit of each one of those terms, and that's all that this formula says. Excuse me. And that's it for this video. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.